Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Mr. Justin's Teva class. I am so happy to see you all again. I really wish that we were back at school and I could do this in person, but we're not, and it's better that way so everyone stays safe and healthy right now. But we have work to do still. Mr. Justin has a fun game he wants to play with everyone. It's my favorite game, and I'm sure you all know what it is. It's about animals. So what we're going to do today is Mr. Justin's going to show you a picture of an animal. And you're going to tell me what the animal is, okay? We've played it all before, so you know I want something more specific than just what kind of animal it is. Like if I show a bird, I don't want you to just say bird. I want you to know exactly what kind of bird that bird is, okay? The younger ones, you can just say bird, it's fine. The older kids, though, you know better, and I want you to know what it is. So all of these animals are native to right here in Florida. And during this whole time that we have right now where we're all having to stay home, we can still go outside, and we can still, as long as we're distant from everyone else, we can still see some of these animals. Mr. Justin saw some of them this week, and hopefully you can go outside soon and see some of these fantastic animals. You guys ready? Alright, so this is the first animal. I want you to get a good look at it. I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it. Now I know what you're thinking. You're saying, Mr. Justin, that's a turtle. No, it's not. This is a tortoise. Now, a tortoise is like a turtle, but it lives on land. Now, who there can tell me why a tortoise lives on land and not in the water? Do you see his feet here? He's got feet kind of like an elephant. He doesn't have the smooth flippers of a fish or a sea turtle. He can't swim very well. Now, specifically, this is a gopher tortoise. The gopher tortoise can be found right here in Florida, and he is what is known as an herbivore. That's a huge word, but I know you all know it already because I've taught it. What's the word mean? Yeah, that's close enough. Herbivore is an animal that eats plants. So this little tortoise loves to eat things like mushrooms and berries and leaves and grass and all sorts of other plants. Because he's kind of slow, and if he had to be a carnivore, he just wouldn't make it. So, he is also another big word, which is diurnal. Now, I know you might not remember that one, but I have taught it before. Diurnal means that they're awake during the daytime, like people. And we'll get over what the other one is later. So, the gopher tortoise here, and I saw one of these earlier in the week. It was really cool. The gopher tortoise likes to dig. That's where he gets the name gopher. Like a gopher, it digs holes and burrows. So what the gopher tortoise does is he digs a deep burrow, and he lies in there to sleep, but also to get out of the heat of the day. It gets really hot in Florida, and he can't swim in the water, so he goes deep underground where it's nice and cool. Now he's a reptile, which means he's cold-blooded, so he likes some heat. He likes to go out and sit in the sun and just bask in all of its glory. Like Mr. Justin, part reptile. Yeah. Love this one. But they live on land, a gopher tortoise. Did you all get that one? Well, now you do. So when we replay this game, you're going to remember gopher tortoise. You can tell by his feet, which look like an elephant, and his strong, hard shell. And he doesn't have flippers to help him swim. Alright, you want to try the next one? Yeah? You sure? Okay. So, the next animal is one of my favorites, and a definitely favorite here in Florida. I know, I can hear you already. You're shouting it out. You know what it is? This is the alligator. Everyone give me a real quick chomp. Yep, there you go. Gator chomping. Alright, so the alligator is a very special animal. There's only 2 species of alligator in the entire world. One lives right here in Florida, and parts of Georgia, Louisiana, Alabama, and Texas. And the other one lives in China, and is usually found in the Yangtze River. Still cool. So, the alligator is very different from a crocodile. They kind of look the same, but they're very different animals. Now, the alligator is a carnivore. That's a big word, and I know you know what it is. Carnivore means that they eat other animals. They eat things like fish, and birds, and all sorts of reptiles, and frogs, and anything they can get in that big mouth with all them teeth. Now, alligator lives in the land and in the water. it likes to sit up on the land and do what's called basking. That means he's sitting up on, soaking up the sun. Like I talked about with the tortoise, he soaks up all the sunshine. It gives him all sorts of fun energy. It's really nice to sit in the sun. You should definitely try it. Remember to wear sunscreen. So the alligator is also cold-blooded and is also diurnal, which means they're out during the daytime. That's when they like to swim and to sit out in the sun and to eat. Now, a fun thing about alligators is that they lay eggs. And what they do with these eggs is they don't build a nest up in a tree like a bird. They dig a hole, kind of like a turtle. They dig a hole in the ground, they bury their eggs, they pat it down flat, and then they leave. And they stay nearby and wait for the eggs to hatch. And when the eggs hatch, they're underground. Now, they don't dig themselves out like the turtles do. What a baby alligator does is it makes a small vocalized sound that's only heard by the mama alligator. And she'll come back and dig them up and let them all out. What a fantastic mother she is. I love alligators. And please remember, alligators, while being really cool animals here in Florida, can sometimes be dangerous. So we're going to look at them, we're going to take their picture, we're going to learn about them, but we're not going to touch them because they do have all those sharp teeth. So let's leave that to the professionals, and we'll just admire what really cool animals they are and take lots of pictures, because Mr. Justin has so many pictures from all the times he's out on the water and he sees a gator up on the bank. You gotta take like 1,000,000 pictures. They're really awesome. Love gators. Alright, you guys wanna try another one? Alright, you sure? Now this one I'm confident you know, because I'm confident you've seen them around here in Florida. This one. It's big. It's got a long shell. It's not a turtle. It is an armadillo. Hooray! Armadillos. Armadillos are fun. They are nocturnal, which is the opposite of diurnal, which means they were out during the day. Armadillos are nocturnal. They come out at night. And that's because all of the other predators are asleep at night. So it's much safer for the armadillo to be out during the nighttime. So armadillos are omnivores. And an omnivore is an animal that eats both plants and animals. The armadillo loves to eat ants and worms, all sorts of other types of insects, but it also eats fruits and different types of fungi and mushrooms. Yeah. And so how an armadillo gets all these things is it has sharp claws on its feet that it uses to dig, kind of like the gopher tortoise. It digs a burrow to sleep in, but it also digs holes, small hole in the ground to try and find something to eat. Kind of like our chickens do. The chickens dig holes sometimes in the ground looking for worms. The armadillo will too. And he'll scoop them all up with his snout. You might see them on the side of the road or at night. They're really cool animals. Now, you might be saying, Mr. Justin, what's all this shell thing about on his back? You see, this is a 9-banded armadillo, which means he's got 9 little bands there in the middle. And this is this type of armadillo. It's found all throughout the southeast United States, from Florida to Texas. And what happens with the shell is it's to protect them, kind of like a turtle's, but it's not as strong as a turtle. So what an armadillo will do is if it sees a predator, it'll dig a hole and hide just the bottom half of it in. Its face, its tail, its belly, all deep in the ground. And then it'll let the shell part stick up out of the ground. So that when a predator comes by and tries to eat it, it can't. It'll find its way on that shell, and then it can't pull it out of the ground because it's dug in too deep. So it'll stay there, nice and safe. Now what's really smart about armadillos is they have multiple houses. You see, most animals will dig one nest or one burrow in the ground. Armadillo will dig several, sometimes as much as 9 or 10, all over what he considers his territory. And what he does is in the morning, when the sun's coming up, because he's got not very good eyes, he mostly relies on his smell, and the sun will hurt his eyes, he'll try and find one of these homes. And if his home's really far away, he'll go to one he built that's closer. And he'll sleep in that for the day. Armadillos. Really cool animals. Again, they're not dangerous, but we're not going to pet them. We're going to let them be. We can look at them, we can learn about them, take lots of cool pictures. They're a really neat little animal. But, you know, just on the safe side, they could be covered in something dirty or filthy that we don't want to touch. We're going to let the armadillos be and not pet them. Okay? Alright, I got 2 more. I know you're really loving this game. Now, if you didn't get all 5 of these right, Mr. Justin wins. And if I win, Someone's bringing me lunch because I don't have any food and I need some food. So if you didn't get all 5, you lose. You gotta bring Mr. Justin some lunch. I'm sorry, that's the way the game's played. Alright, this is Mr. Justin's favorite, and I know you know what it is sometimes. You see them a lot in zoos, but they're also really cool here in Florida. This is a manatee. Sometimes it's called a sea cow. I don't really see it myself. Manatee. Specifically, this is the West Indian manatee, which is found here in Florida. I really wish I could have found like all these animals in real life and shown them to you, but that would have been really complicated, and I had to make a video. So we're going to do pictures. The manatee is an herbivore, and that means it eats plants, like the gopher tortoise. Now, a manatee lives underwater, so it eats all sorts of water plants. There's way too many to name. But it's a mammal, which means it breathes air. Even though it lives underwater, it surfaces like a dolphin and breathes air. And it's got all these little hairs on its face to allow it to find food underground, kind of like a whiskers on a cat. And this is its baby, you can see. The mama manatee will hold its baby in its stomach for about 14 months before giving birth. It's a long time. And it's usually just the one baby. Whereas alligators will lay 10, 15 eggs. The manatee has one baby, usually every 2 to 3 years. They are diurnal, which means they're out during the daytime. And you see how it has this large tail? It doesn't have any feet. You see, an alligator can come up on land because it's got feet and a tail. The manatee just has a tail, which is really good for swimming, but not so good for walking on land. They are very peaceful, very gentle giants, these manatees. They are very cute, very cool animals. They don't have very many teeth, they can't hurt anyone, but we need to be very careful because this animal is endangered. And I know you remember me, Mr. Justin, teaching about endangered animals. And an endangered animal is an animal where there's not very many left. So we have to be very extra careful that when we see one of these, we take very good care of it, and we don't go too close to it, and we especially don't go boating in areas where there is manatees. There are all sorts of signs. If you're out here in Florida, out in the lakes and rivers, you can find all sorts of signs that say manatee area, no drifting, no boating. So please keep it respectable because you could hit the manatee with your boat and hurt it. I remember Mr. Justin was out fishing a couple months ago, and my boat was just sitting out in the water, and this big shape came swooping under the water at me. And let me tell you, it's kind of scary if you don't know what it is, this big shadow underwater. But it was a manatee who swam right under my boat. Boat wasn't moving, so it's perfectly safe. Animal's fine. We gotta be very careful with these animals. They're endangered, and we want to keep them around as long as possible because they are actually not the cutest things. Very fat and gray. But it's a really cool animal, and it's a very peaceful animal, and we really love this one. Alright? Manatee. Especially cool here in Florida. Now, there's one more cool animal I want to show you. Please remember that if you didn't get all 5, you owe me lunch or something, okay? This. Yep. Remember, I said, don't just say bird. You know what it is. Actually, you don't probably. You've seen it, though, here in Florida. This is an ibis. Specifically, this is a white ibis. They're often found in big flocks, like 10, 15 of them. And you've most probably seen this walking through your yard. The ibis has long feet, and he likes to walk right through your yard, especially after rain, a big flock of them. Because that's when all the bugs and animals have come up to the top of the ground. Makes it really good hunting and eating for this bird. Now the ibis is diurnal, which means it's out during the daytime. It sleeps at night. It spends most of its life walking around looking for food on those big feet. So he doesn't swim like a duck. He walks and wades through the water or on land, and he uses his long bill to reach down into the water and peck up, it's really windy, and eat all the bugs and insects. So he is a carnivore. Now you're saying carnivore, Mr. Justin, he didn't have any teeth. He doesn't look anything like the alligator. Well, no, but he still is a carnivore because he does eat other animals. He eats things like fish and insects and worms, and especially crayfish. They love crayfish, which if you don't know what a crayfish is, we'll get to that later. You can look it up. So they like to walk through the water and search for food, and they stay in big flocks together. And what's really cool about them is that the parents take turns watching over the babies. So the mama will watch it for a couple of hours, while the dad looks for food, and then the mom will come back and she'll watch the baby. Dad will come back and watch the baby, and the mama will go out and look for food. And it's really cool that the parents take turns watching the child to make sure that it's safe. Especially when it's a bird, you know, it's really cool. So, the white ibis. That's the last of the animals. Did you get them all? Did you at least learn what they were? Do you want me to go through them real fast one more time? The ibis. The manatee. The armadillo. The alligator. And the gopher tortoise. Now these are 5 animals that are found right here in Florida. They are what are called native. Now that's a big word too. A native animal is an animal that was born here and it comes from here. So all these animals come from Florida and they stay here in Florida. They can be found elsewhere too, but they are found here in Florida. Please go out and try and find one if you can. Remember, just take pictures, look at it, learn about it. Don't go near it to pet them. They are still wild animals. Mr. Justin misses everyone. He really does. So I hope you have learned something about these great animals. I hope you get some time to go outside and enjoy nature, enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the animals. Please stay safe and healthy. It's a rough time right now, kids, but Mr. Justin wants you to be very happy and still keep learning. Stay safe.